Years ago or something, if I had gone up to somebody and said, "Oh, what do you do?" and I'd say, "Oh, I teach yoga in Nokesville," and they would have said, "Where?" Or actually, they would have, a couple sentences into the conversation, you'd realize that they thought you meant Knoxville, Tennessee. So it's true that times are changing for our little town, and that's okay. That's yoga. You'll hear me say that a lot. About a lot of things. That's yoga. Oh, I fed my dog this morning. That's yoga. And it is my goal to create a really comfortable, welcoming environment for anyone to come and discover the deeper benefits of yoga and a more well-rounded understanding of what yoga really is and what it can do. So, before we get started, I want to start us off the same way we always do. So if you've taken a class with me, you know where this is going. I want you to find a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. Most of us are in chairs this morning. That's great. You could wiggle your shoulders or wiggle your hips, or maybe you find your hands on tops of your thighs or your knees.
So sorry.
Oh, is my time up?
No. Pastor Alan, sorry. So sorry. You keep going.
I practiced. I was pretty
Lots
sure.
of time.
Okay, comfortable seated position. Move your hips, your shoulders. Bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. Maybe find your feet flat on the floor. Very good. And if it's comfortable for you, you could close your eyes. If that's not comfortable for you, that's okay. Just find a soft gaze, maybe straight ahead or angle down towards the floor. And we're just going to begin to bring our awareness into the room. So we're coming away from bed, away from breakfast, away from shoveling snow, away from the traffic, away from the sounds of the front door, the coffee shop. Beginning to bring your awareness into this room, into the space in your chair. You might bring all of your awareness to the space just in front of your nose and notice the air moving in is nice and cool. The air moving out is soothing and warm. And we're just going to take one nice big deep breath together. When you're ready, exhale fully. Release all that stale air. And begin. Inhale, fill up your belly like a big balloon. When you can't expand your belly anymore, expand your rib cage, a little bit more air in. Maybe one more sip of air up at the top. Hold it. And when you're ready, slowly exhale. Relax your collarbones, contract your ribs, draw your belly button into your spine. And relax. And breathe normally. And that's it. That's yoga. You did it. You're all professional yogis. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about how I got into yoga. The specific style of yoga that I teach. You know, there's a million styles of yoga out there, so I want to talk about what's specific about the style that I teach, and a little bit more about what it means to me to teach yoga for you. So, I got into yoga. I got into yoga the same way most people do, just as a hobby, you know, way to unwind from a stressful job I had in the city. And I took my first yoga class. My mom took me to my first yoga class when I was in college. And I really liked it. It worked for me as a former dancer from Miss Kim's dance studio across the street. The themes of strength and flexibility and balance that resonated for me a lot. And it's hard to find adult dance classes. So when I graduated college, I started getting into yoga more. I was living in a city, and in a city, you can like throw a rock and hit a yoga studio. So I spent the next 10 years or so taking almost every kind of yoga there is. Whatever classes I could find wherever I was, I would take those. So, styles of yoga. You know, there's a million types of yoga. You go to a studio, maybe they have a yin yoga and a vinyasa yoga, or they have a hatha yoga, or there's different schools of yoga, and there's Bikram yoga and Iyengar yoga and goat yoga. I myself actually have not ever taken a goat yoga class, but suffice it to say, I've taken just about every kind of yoga there is. And a turning point came for me when I visited a place called Yogaville. Yes, that's a real place, and it is really called that. And it is what it sounds like. It's a Yogaville. It's just outside of Charlottesville, and it's a little bit like a college campus, I guess. It's got a main hall and some dorms and things like that in a surrounding neighborhood. And it's on 800 acres of beautiful Virginia forest. It's such a beautiful place. And there they practice a style of yoga called integral yoga, which is the kind that I teach right here in this room on Mondays at 6. I really fell in love with this style of integral yoga. And I want to tell you a little bit more about it, where it comes from, because it's kind of a cool story, and I like stories. So, integral yoga was founded by a fella named of Sri Swami Satchidananda. You can say that 10 times fast if you'd like. Satchidananda might be more well-known or recognized as the Woodstock guru. You might be familiar with this image. Satchidananda came to America in 1966. He was invited here by Peter Max, a contemporary artist at the time, famous for his psychedelic art for the Beatles. So the Beatles are in India. They're doing their sitar thing. And they meet Satchidananda. And Peter Max invites him to New York in 1966. And he opens for Woodstock in 1969, which is pretty cool. He stayed in America, and he opened integral yoga institutes, one in San Francisco, one in New York, and he made his home right here in Virginia on the James River. And he founded Yogaville. So, integral yoga, what's special about it is that it's a really well-rounded practice. It's a really holistic practice because so we know there's like a million styles of yoga, but within yoga, there's multiple aspects. The poses, the stuff that we do on the mat, is really just the beginning. The poses make up like maybe 10% of what yoga is as a whole. There's the yoga of poses, but there's also the yoga of breathing, the yoga of eating, the yoga of sleeping, the yoga of walking, the yoga of talking, the yoga of being nice to each other. And so in an integral yoga class, if you came to one of my classes, we do the poses, we do them all in a classical style, and there's no headstands, there's not even any touching your toes. Believe it or not, you don't have to touch your toes to do yoga. So we do the poses, and we also do some breath work, and we do some guided meditation, a deep relaxation technique called Yoga Nidra, which is super popular, and some meditation. And that's a little bit about integral yoga as a style, where it came from, and what I like about it. Because again, yoga is so much more than what you do on the mat. The mat's just the beginning. What we do on the mat helps us access the beauty, the joy, the peace that's inside of us already, that we can use that as fuel for our lives to help us better take care of ourselves, others, our community, our families. Okay, so I visited Yogaville, I discovered integral yoga, I thought, wow, this is really cool. Meanwhile, I'm still living the city life, and I'm working 14, 16-hour days in a smile and high heels, and it's exhausting. It was exhausting. It was a fantastic job, but it was just, I was burnt out. So, yoga. I started practicing yoga more and more, not just in the studio, but I brought it into my home. I'm practicing at home, just what I remember from classes, or I'm doing breathing exercises during my lunch hour, or whatever. And just to gain enough energy to get through the day. And as happens with yoga, my inner life got deeper and broader. And soon, my inner life and my outer life just didn't line up anymore. And I was asking myself the big questions, like, is this really who I am? Or is this really where I want to be? Or am I happy? That's yoga, by the way. Am I happy? That's yoga. So what does any self-respecting hippie do when they're having an existential crisis? They roll. Close. They drive to San Francisco, right? Hippie Mecca, San Francisco. So I drove myself to San Francisco. I packed up my little silver car and I headed west. And I didn't stop there, obviously, because I'm standing here right now. I went up the west coast and then back across through the plains. And it took me about 6 weeks, all told, this trip, and it was really a fantastic time. Had a lot of time on the road to think about those questions. And one night, outside of Buffalo, Wyoming, I had this dream. Now, I'm not big into this, I'm not a dream interpreter, you know what I mean? But this was a very impactful dream. In it, okay, also, mind you, I've seen a lot of gas stations by now. I've driven 5,000 miles. I'm seeing a gas station every day. And in this dream, I built out this abandoned gas station into a vibrant yoga studio. And it has books, and I sell coffee, and out front, the gas pumps out front. It's a dream, okay? The gas pumps out front. When you would lift the nozzle and pull the trigger, instead of gas coming out, flowers came out. Flowers came out of one, and bubbles came out of another, and rays of light came out of another one. And I understood, because it's a dream, you know how dreams work, you just all of a sudden understand this totally insane thing happening in front of you. I understood that these symbols, they were representations of the beauty, the joy, the peace in us all of the time. And that these are fuel. That these are types of fuel just waiting to be tapped. And that yoga is the function through which we get to access those things, that we can gain the energy we need for life, to help take care of ourselves, take care of others, take care of our families, our communities. So I woke up, and this photo was, I took this photo. I hit the road, and I stopped and I took this photo. And I chose to use it today because you can really tell on my face that I've come a long way. And I feel this sense of purpose. I know what I'm going to do. And I spent the rest of the way back figuring out how I was going to do it. And so I got home. I quit my job. I put everything I owned into a 10 by 10 storage unit, and I moved to Yogaville. So I moved to Yogaville, and I got my teacher training in the integral yoga style. And after my training, I stayed. I still didn't have a job or a place to live, so I stayed there, and I worked on their farm in exchange for room and board, and I lived and breathed the practice of yoga. Eventually, it was time for me to leave this little incubator. I went to move in with my grandmother after my grandfather passed away to help take care of her and support her in her grief. And that experience really showed me how critical the practice of yoga is and how deeply it can be felt in order to gain the energy that we need to support ourselves, each other, our communities. Grief is a heavy one, and without my practice of yoga, I don't think I would have been able to help anybody, much less somebody else also in grief. So soon it was time for me to pursue this dream, literally. And I thought about what I could do. I was like, well, I could move back to the city. There's studios everywhere. I could find a studio and get a job, or maybe I'd hike it back to Wyoming, buy an abandoned gas station, build it out, teach yoga, But honestly, by then I just wanted to come home. I really wanted to come home. And I wanted to come home to Nokesville. I wanted to teach yoga for you. I'd had this experience and gained all this knowledge about how important yoga is, not just as an exercise, but as a way to access that alternative energy in you that helps you fuel your life. Well, so we all experience, owning small businesses, whatever our special obstacle is, because we all have one in our business, right? If I went up to somebody and say, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, I teach yoga in Nokesville. It's not, where's Nokesville anymore, right? It's, oh, yoga's not for me. 90% of my interactions with people is, oh, I can't do that. I can't touch my toes, I can't, And it's my purpose to share the knowledge of yoga, the deeper benefits of yoga, how it can work for you to help support you build a more easeful, peaceful, and useful life. That's a little bit about me, about the style of yoga that I teach. I teach it in this room Mondays at 6 p.m. And what it means to me to teach yoga for you. So thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for hearing me. Any questions? Questions for Gwen? Yes,
Yay!
ma'am.
Questions, yes.
I don't have a question for this one. I just have a testimonial because I hung out with Gwen at my friend's party over Christmas break. And she was like, I'm thinking about having this Wednesday morning yoga. And I was like, great, because I can't do nights because I have kids. And so I don't do yoga. I'm one of those people. I was like, that's great, Gwen. You're awesome. I'm not going to do yoga. If you know me, I work out every day. I do high-intensity workouts. I do rowing. I do pretty crazy stuff on my body. But I went to yoga because I was like, let me try something new. And I realized that I need to make yoga a part of my regular schedule because, one, she makes it not scary at all. Like, I did not touch my toes, guys. I'm not flexible. She makes it not scary at all. But also, it's nice to be nice to your body once in a while and do these workouts that maybe aren't breaking your joints constantly. And so it's on my schedule now. I did fall asleep for the half of one of the Friday night yoga classes I did show up for.
That's Yoga Nidra. It's very popular. It's a very popular part of the practice. Yay.
But I just wanted to give her a shout out. So
Wow,
if you haven't tried her yoga class,
Thank
it is
you
not
so
scary.
much.
And if you're not a yogi, it's okay. It's good.
That's
If
your,
you can breathe, you're doing yoga.
Thank you so much. I saw a hand over here. No?
No?
I thought I did.
It was me.
Oh, no, there we
What
go.
do you wear?
What do you wear? Oh my gosh, absolutely anything. Totally anything. So let's say Nokesville, for example. Well, yes, wearing anything, not nothing. Wear anything. You can wear sweatpants and a sweatshirt. You can wear, spandex and a t-shirt. You can really wear anything that's comfortable for you. There's no prescription for what you should wear for a yoga class. Not at all. Just whatever you feel comfortable in. That you can move. I mean, you could wear jeans, but you probably wouldn't like it as much as if you wore sweatpants. Actually, Miss Kathy's husband came to a class once, and he was just gonna stop in, maybe do the first 10 minutes. And I mean, I guess he liked it because he stayed for the whole class. But he was just wearing his cargo shorts. He was just in his clothes with a belt, anything.
Awesome.
Can I suggest something? Had
some health issues, had heart palpitations, had stress, and I hate exercise. I despise it. I won't do it. I would rather not put something in my mouth to control my weight than to exercise. But I came, and it was about the same time that I started going to a live church. The transformation was amazing, mentally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, and the better you can do for yourself, the better you are to everybody else, your customers, yourself, everything. So it's been about a year now. I'm awesome. She took me to hot yoga, almost killed me. But I love it. You anybody can try it. She has different classes for different levels.
Yeah.
So just thank you very much. And your presentation was fantastic.
Aw, thank
Wonderful.
After doing all of the research and like living at Nokesville, Yogaville,
Yoga, that's right.
do you have a personal opinion as to which of the yoga stretches you like to do for beginners or physicians?
What a great question. Well, yes, I definitely wouldn't have somebody like try to do a headstand. That's also, the headstands are not necessary. Anyway, the poses that I do, that I teach in the class, are perfect for beginners. These are sun salutations, which is just you put your arms up, down, do a downward dog, come back up. Super easy. Also, separate leg stretching, just like we did in gym, like where you sit on your bottom and you pull one foot in towards your thigh and the other foot's out long, you make a figure 4 with your leg, and you just, rather than thinking about touching your toes with your fingertips, imagine instead you're going to touch your toes with your chest, and then leave your hands out of it. Don't even worry about your hands. Your hands can come down to the mat, the outsides of your leg, maybe the tops of your thighs or something like that, because in that way your spine is going to be a better alignment, and you're going to bend forward towards your toes, and it eliminates, to the best of its ability, the ego element of whether or not you're going to touch your toes or not. Forget it. Just don't touch your toes. You don't have to. Think about touching your chest to your toes. Well, I'm not going to touch my chest to my toes, so I'll just do my best. Do your best. Leave the rest. That's yoga. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Do you have any classes for little yogis? So I have a 5-year-old who's obsessed with cosmic kids and asks her all the time. And if we're out in public, and I love this as a therapist, and she gets stressed out, she will literally sit down and literally comfortably sit.
Oh my gosh, good for her. Round of applause for her. Yes.
So, do you offer or have you considered offered?
Yes, I do. I teach kids summer camp at Prince William Dance Academy across the street. This year, I think it's going to be the last week of June. I should have written it down. But yeah, take my information. We'll trade. Yes, it's called Zen Zone. Get Zen with Gwen. Ages 5 to 10 is I think what we said. So perfect. Yeah, and we do that once a year. Mm-hmm.
I also want to say, I'm Gwen's husband, Caleb. I have a condition called AS. It's an autoimmune disease, and it causes fusion of the vertebrae. But Gwen's yoga, her style of yoga I was in a really bad physical place before Gwen and I started doing yoga together. And she started teaching me, and it's I just do it from the chair. It's not, she's adapted my physical capability to the practice, and it's it turned everything around for me. I've gotten back in the gym. I've been able to go on walks regularly, and it's really it's been critical.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Any other questions? Gwen, thank you so much. You're awesome. We love having you. Now, I gotta tell you, we have more in common. Being here, but so we have a retreat center that we go to with 120 churches in Buckingham. It's about 90
In
acres.
Buckingham, yeah.
So listen, my whole team, I had to take 5 families there, but we weren't going to be on the campground.
Yeah.
So I needed an Airbnb. So we rent this big Airbnb with like 5 bedrooms in it.
Yeah.
So we go in and there's pictures of what's his name?
Satchidananda.
Everywhere, and my team's like, "Oh no, what is this?" And so we didn't even know it, but we went to Yogaville.
That's so cool.
And so And so there's even pictures like in the bathroom, which was a little weird. That's okay. That's okay. But Yogaville.
To each his own. I don't know. But
Yoga's everywhere.
Yeah,
Yoga's
but I also
everywhere.
have to say that I also did it because it was right on the James River. It was awesome. Any of you who know me, awesome fishing. So it was really, really, really good. So hey, I've been to Yogaville
that's so
accidentally, but it was really cool.
cool.
And I met. Well, I didn't meet him, but man, we saw his face everywhere.
I bet you did. I bet you did.
Yeah,
Also,
so cool.
I have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hang out here for a little while and answer questions. Any questions that you might have. If you don't want to ask in a group or whatever, that's fine. And your little handouts. They have a little bit more about me. What's my mission? What's my vision? You have a coupon in there for one free class. Come try it out.
Wonderful.
Yay! And the classes, when they are, where they are. A more detailed class description is here because the classes are just slightly different. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So
Well, thank you again so much. Everybody take your seats. I want to get a picture of everybody. I'm not going to make you come up front, so everybody get here. Let's get we got a big room full, right? Here we go. One time. There you are. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thanks for doing that. Before you go, please put your business card here. We're going to take a picture of them. We're going to put that on social media so people can see who's here. And then please mix it up. Introduce yourself to someone. I know you heard someone in the room here today that could help you do something. Very interested in, we have not connected about the farm, my crop, so we're going to connect. But thanks for starting that group. I need to come. Okay, thank you all. Nokesville Day is coming up. Get registered. Nokesville Day. Get a booth. All right? Nokesville Day. Thank you all very much.